Hey guys. I was bored. I downloaded a couple of maps, and instead of just, watching, this is weird, but watching music rather, listening to music while exploring them, I thought I'd make a video. I have not looked at this map. All I have done is spawn over here, driven over here, and set my stuff up. That's all I did. I put myself a pace car in front of me. He's gonna help a little bit with figuring out the map, hopefully. But yeah, he's got way more power than me. Alright, that is not the way to go. I guess I'll respawn him here then. Freeze. Then I have to go, no, here, free cam. Switch to him, F7 here. That's about good. There. I guess that route would have worked, but yeah. Well, I guess he's not gonna race. So, I guess I'm on my own then. Lots of hairpins. Not as many as another map I know and have. But they're slightly trickier. They're way more bouncy. And they're also more fun. They're wider. They're not tight hairpin. They're more like a 180-degree corner. Whoop. That was almost really bad. I looked at the map for a second while braking. This thing struggles on very tight hairpins, somewhat, if you break the traction of the rear wheels too much. Because the rear wheels don't want to spin at all. So this thing has a bunch of rear bias, which means on really tight corners, if you make the rear spin too much, well, no power goes to the front, and then it's just a rear wheel drive now. I didn't look at the map, I was too busy talking. Right down here. Yep. Yeah. Hopefully this thing gets a remaster soon, because it is a really nice car. And it handles pretty well, apart from the fact that the rear doesn't slide out. Well, this gets it much steeper for a small moment. Oh, and it's the end of the map. Oh. Well then. Let's try to run this a bit faster. And if it's a bit too easy, then I'll switch to another map. Well, that's a bit too faster. I could have tried to go up on the wall. I'll try that, actually. Maybe not. That's a bit too much on the inside. Yeah. I might just make the mini-map slightly larger, because I am not looking at it enough. Can I make it 300 by 300? There's no need, because... Okay, yeah. There we go. I'll make it like that. Yeah, okay, that's big enough. Not much of a difference, but easier to look at. Oh my god. Yeah, understeers like crazy. But yeah, I've been working on a series lately, most notably called Sport RS. I haven't released a video yet, or yet as of recording this. Probably this is gonna come out after it. But yeah, basically it slaps around the Nürburgring with vehicles that only have a maximum of 325 horsepower, or brake horsepower I should say. And yeah, everything is sport except for the engine, since it is capped by power. And yeah, that's about it for the series. My goal was to challenge people in the BeamNG community to, well, try it out. Drive something else than a bunch of sports car with 1,000 horsepower. But yeah, and I was also having fun doing that. But since I was having fun, well, I decided to make it slightly better if I could. So I decided to try a variant with 375 horsepower. And the instant I tried that, well, I saw that the cars were getting not a bit too fast, but a bit too uncontrollable, especially the one rear-wheel drive to, well, 240BX. So, I decided to try something else, and this idea came from, well, trying to race on one of these maps. Not the new ones, but Akina, actually, that I have had for a bit. And while driving one of the Sport RS variants, which was the second fastest, which in the video I don't show it because I tried it out much later afterwards, was only like 4/10 of a second behind instead of like 8. But yeah, so I tried that one out and it was spinning out too much. So I then reduced the horsepower. And yeah, I played around with that variant and the one for the Nürburgring a bit and found a pretty good balance. And then I wanted to change some things up, so I went and made Sport RS Minus, which had, well, less horsepower, but different rules. So while capping the power at 300 flat horsepower, I also allowed, well, weight reduction of some kinds, and I limited the amount of parts, not like total parts, but you will only get 2 race parts instead of being able to do anything to the engine, and you would only get 2 high performance parts. Yeah, this thing does not like to turn at high speeds. I'd really need like probably pedals, because then I could probably trail brake into this corner. But I do have pedals, I just prefer driving on, well, with keyboard. Much simpler. I also have a wheel. It's old, but I have one. Anyways, back to it. So Sport RS Minus has less power, yes, more weight reduction, so in turn the cars are about the same, except the rear-wheel drive Covet I was building, which, because it's so goddamn light, is very fast. But it's actually a very, very well-balanced car. I might actually spawn it here. But basically, Sport RS Minus would be an endurance race instead of a fastest lap. It'd be how many laps can you do in like an hour or two, or maybe not. Since I haven't really done much of that, and the recording would be like 10 hours long if I had 5 V kills. So I don't know how that would play out, but I was just curious. And yeah, it's a cool car, so I'm happy I tried that out. I'm gonna kill me. Perfect, that was planned. But yeah. Ooh, that's good. Yep. I'm talking while driving, and it's taking my 2 brain cells to do independent tasks, and they're not liking it. But yeah, next time I crash, I'm gonna spawn that Covet I was talking about. Yeah. I think if I rerun the Covet's actual Sport RS config, I could potentially beat the record that's gonna be in the video. I mean, it was only 4/10 behind, and it was rear-wheel drive, so I mean, if I had better controls, or control over the throttle, which that run I did do with keyboard. Lots of foliage around here. This is not gonna end well. Well, it didn't end too bad, I guess. Yeah, no, this map ain't too bad. I've had worse ones. I guess it's much more uniform. Or maybe I'm just getting used to driving this config. Don't know. So this ain't... Nope. Okay, good. But yeah, I don't know what else to talk about. I mean, I tried the Sport RS Plus on 1 or 2 variants, but yeah. I didn't really like them. And plus, this thing's variant currently would not be within the rules. And the problem is that the Sport Plus, well, it'd be too fast for itself. Because 50 more horsepower is like a bit less than 1/6 more horsepower. And it's the same brakes. Unless I allowed race brake discs, which I tried on this thing, and it just never overheats the brakes, which goes against the sport challenge thing that I was setting, where it's managing your brakes and having the challenge of not having a car that is perfectly flawless. You have to deal with the sport suspension, which is not the best. You have to deal with the brakes that are gonna fade midway through the race. You have to deal with sport tires that don't have the same traction as race tires. That is what my challenge was all about. Actually challenging the player to have to deal with all of these conditions. And when you go further, well then, with 50 more horsepower, the brakes would fade even faster. Which would make it so bad that they would probably fade completely by the end of the race. Making them maybe actually having slower times. But yeah, this thing drives like an R32 or something. Just a lot of understeer. But yeah, I don't know, maybe I should talk while driving more often, because I haven't crashed too hard, so that means that my driving instincts are not too bad, because I'm not even, well, it spoke too soon, I guess. But yeah, so I'll show you the covert I was talking about. It's not this one, and it's not this one, because this one's, a bit more like the other one. This one has 300 horsepower as well, but not exactly the same as this. So I think this is Sport Minus, because yes, it has the lightweight windows. So yeah, this thing is really quick. The only downside is it only gets like a 5-speed transmission, which means all of the gears are working overtime. Ah, god damn it. Well, this video isn't meant to be too entertaining anyways. It's just me driving. Yeah. Just can't brake too hard because all the weight shifts to the front. But yeah, this thing really likes, at least on the Nürburgring and on other maps. I've only really tested it on the Nürburgring, I think. I've tested it at some other places, but it really liked to do slip angle. God damn it. Yep. It's not bad, because like once you tame it, like especially on the Nürburgring, which is what I'm gonna go do. Nürburgring. One of my favorite maps, and with good reasons, because it's, well, it's a good test of your capabilities, and all capabilities, your tuning, and your driving skills. Oh, I'm guessing that is gonna be somebody that needs this. Be right back. Alright, kinda sorry for that, but yep, nope. Going to be showing you, well, just this. If it would do that, yes. And normally I started it from all the way over there, since it is endurance. From over here. And I think just for pace, I'm gonna be putting the other variant. Yes, this one. I'll put it somewhere far above. See, this thing has like 400 horsepower. This one has literally 100 horsepower less. And once I go, you'll see how much fast this is. That was perfect English, but yeah. So yeah, when I tell you it's fast, I'm catching up to that thing. Until about 200, when it starts to leave me in the dust, because it has 6 gears and, well, 400 horsepower. So this thing really accelerates fast, but it would be and is the fastest of the Sport RS. Just Sport RS normal. This is the only, like, Sport minus I have so far, because, well, just because I really enjoyed this car, but yeah. But yeah, the Sport RS regular version of this was just 4/10 behind, well, the Sport RS variant of this thing. So I think if I tamed it correctly, like, both runs could be improved. But if I could accelerate just a little bit quicker and not hesitate as much, because, well, I do when it's a rear-wheel drive car. Yeah, so see, about top of 4th gear is when it starts leaving me in the dust. Well, not in the dust, but just going further. Not going further. Well, yeah, just being faster. But this thing doesn't really struggle. I think it hits about the same speed as the other variant with 25 more horsepower. But yeah, I can only do 1 lap and then I have to go. So hopefully I don't crash. So yeah, this thing gets it's like dangerous to drive but very fast, compared to something like this, which is very easy to drive but and pretty fast because of the suspension it gets. But yeah, this thing, if you lift off the throttle, you oversteer. If you go on the throttle, you oversteer. And if you step on the throttle just a little bit, you kind of understeer, then you oversteer. And if you just go into the corner like this without tapping the brakes, well, you understeer. It's a whole sort of things. But if you get to know how to actually handle it, you can overtake, or you can be pretty fast. Right here. No. Mate. I could have overtaken them. Right here, I might. I couldn't. I didn't set up myself good enough. But I think the AI lets off the throttle over here. Yep, AI is just slow at corners. But now, time to finish this with record pace. Yeah, if you trail brake, well, you get what the result you get when you trail brake, which is oversteer. But if you don't trail brake, well, you can kind of understeer, because all the weight's at the rear. And if you look carefully, when I'm tapping the throttle during the corners, you can kind of see it goes into understeer and then oversteer. But yeah. Thankfully it has big fat grippy tires at the rear, because if not it would be uncontrollable. So yeah, if you do lose traction, you can get it back quite easily, but it's still not an easy thing to drive. When, well, it's a little sport hatchback that's got way too much horsepower for what it is. That was the coolest corner I think I've ever done. What time was that approximately? That was below 10 minutes for sure. Not incredibly much faster than he is. But still a good like 10 seconds faster. And that's with me following him for half the lap, so... Yeah. Anyways, thank you so much for watching till the end, or watching at all. Yeah. Maybe I'll do, like... Well, a Sport RS minus competition with viewers at some point if I get popular enough. If this takes off. If not, then that'll be that. So yeah, I'll catch you guys in another video. See ya!